verbs and they move shit around and put things in weird places. And when you read the translation, you're like, what the fuck does this mean?
Right.
Well, they're figuring out how to translate it, not just both word for word, but figuring out how you would say that same sentence in English.
So it structures well.
Yeah. So it's clear what you're translating. It's fucking fascinating shit, man. It's fascinating.
And I also wonder, after 50 or so years of everybody using English on the internet, how many kids are going to grow up just as English as their new language and their original language as like the old-fashioned thing their parents did.
Could you imagine if there was only one language? Could you imagine how much shit would get done?
Well, can you see, you know what's interesting though when you say that? Like, imagine
languages are going to go away by technology very, very, very fast.
No
though.
languages?
Well,
so what's going to happen?
I
Like
think
translators,
it'll mud out.
like you'll just sit there and have something translated to you in real time. It's going to be voice detection and everything like that. It's just going to make.
But there'll still be languages, though. People are still going to want to talk to each other.
Traditionalists will still be there playing with their old thing. But what if a few generations go by?
Right.
I think things are going to change profoundly.
Well, you're a proponent of the isolation tank. You actually have John Lilly's tank, don't you?
I do. I actually,
pretty
after I
crazy.
met John, he gave me his tank.
He's got John Lilly's isolation tank.
You were my only other friend that ever had one, actually.
That's like having Willie Mays' fucking baseball bat. You know what I mean?
You know what's cool? I got his shower shoes to go with it.
Oh, shit.
So I actually get out and walk in his shoes every time I go from my tank to the shower.
Crazy. That's
They're
crazy.
not high heels,
That's the
are
best
they?
part.
Now,
pretty
imagine-
boring brown shower shoes, but
Imagine when they figure out how to stimulate the mind to create certain states, and they do it in conjunction with the tank, which is really the way to do it because it eliminates all the sensory input from this world. If they could figure out how to do that, put some electrodes on your head and set you in that fucking tank and light you up like a Christmas tree, and you just go into some other world, then maybe people will stop talking.
I think Dr. Lilly did that to me with 1 cc ketamine injected,
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah, what a rush. Yeah.
What did he do? What did he do exactly?
Well, when I got there, actually, I was going to go into the tank just, straight. And you got to rinse off and everything before you go in the tank. And the guy was prepping me, and he says, usually when we do it, we go in with 1 cc injected intramuscularly, ketamine, would you like some? And I hear part of my brain go, no drugs, thanks. And then I hear my mouth go, oh, absolutely, I'd love some. And then I felt like a complete third person in my own reality because he said, no problem, it's injected intramuscularly. Is that a problem? And my side of my brain went, needles, no. My mouth, however, went, no problem. That'd be great.
I didn't want to offend him.
Yeah, and you know what? And he walked away to go get me the stuff, and I stood there for a minute, and my brain was saying, "No way!" And my other side of my brain went, "Look, you're at Dr. Lily's house, man. You've come all this way. There's no way you're saying no." And he walked back in, and I felt a little alcohol swab on my muscle, and I heard my brain go, "No," and then I heard my mouth go, "Thank you very much." And then I made the most naive sorry. I said, "How long does it take to kick in?" And I will never forget his face when he went, "Oh, you haven't done it before? Oh, you should lay down." About 45 seconds, and he put me in the tank. And
now, when you do it, what if you do something like that and you
Wow.
have sleep apnea? Do you run the risk of choking and not breathing?
I don't know. I didn't have sleep apnea, but the last thing I was thinking about was sleeping when he slipped me into that tank. I thought I was there to watch the entire world come to an end, and I had a ringside seat. It was pretty interesting.
So they shot you up with this ketamine. You lie down in the tank.
Yeah,
What
you get into
happens?
the tank and you float. And for me, it was
Right.
the first experience ever floating. And when the tank
So
closes,
your first experience floating was with ketamine?
yeah.
Oh my
Hey, it happens,
God.
How do you say no to Dr. Lilly? I'd watched the movie Altered States dozens of times. I'd owned the laser disc. That's how long
So
I'd
what
had it.
happened? What happened after it kicks
Personally,
in? 45 seconds in. What happens?
I thought I was freaking out, and the funnier side of this was my good friend was in the other room, and I was background panic noise while all this was going on, and he didn't know about the ketamine entering into the equation, and he was sitting there with Dr. Lilly and his assistant at the time, Craig, and they had no concern of me sounding like I'm drowning, and finally he asked, is he on ketamine, and Craig said yes, and he said, would you go get me some? And my friend was totally blown away. Didn't think that was going to be the answer to to the problem. And John put some ketamine into his leg and told my friend to have a nice night. And he went into his bedroom, and my friend could see into the bedroom where the tank was next to a bed. And he didn't touch the tank. He just went in and laid down next to the bed. And I actually stopped screaming at that point. And my friend was looking in the bedroom.
You were screaming.
I was freaking out, man. I was fucking losing my mind.
So, okay, so you're in the tank.
You
They
have
shoot
no
you up
idea
with
the
ketamine.
panic.
You panic. You start screaming. John Lilly says,
All of a sudden-
give me some of what he's having.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, I felt like, well, when I stopped screaming, I remembered it was conscious. It felt like somebody came into my trip and just said, "Yo, take a deep breath, calm down," and I was like, okay. And you know what? I just channeled the energy, and it actually was a really positive
think that
experience.
John Lilly joined you in your trip? Is that what you?
What if he joined you in the actual
No,
isolation?
he didn't. Me and my girlfriend later on tried to get in.
It's like that dentist. You know?
It's not a cool place to have a friend actually.
Massaging your
turns out.
tits.
Yeah, come here, let's cuddle. It didn't work. But
that tank.
you know what? In a sense, yes, I feel like he did. I felt like there was a telepathic communication. As much as this is going to blow all of the credibility I just had about talking about pot. Yeah, I actually felt like Dr. Lilly and I communicated on a level that was more telepathic during the time I was under the drug.
Now, do you think like the tank even
It's true
has?
story. Don't want to believe it.
Do you think
I
the
don't
tank
care.
would even work though if he took the same amount of pills and just laid
Can
on
I tell
something
you something,
comfortable
though?
or something?
The tank, no.
I don't think
no.
the pill, or I wouldn't think that your
Well,
environment would have
here's
that
how
big of a deal.
here's how
The
McKenna,
tank's huge.
Right.
No, it's huge.
Here's how McKenna described ketamine. He said that it was like he believed that when you did psychedelics, you somehow or another connected to the experience that everybody had doing those psychedelics before you. That's one of the reasons why the mushroom experience is so rich and diverse. It's because
So many
thousands
people
and
have done
thousands
mushrooms.
and millions of people over the years have done mushrooms, and you're connected to this one big, gigantic, growing experience. He said doing ketamine, ketamine is so much more rare that it gave him the feeling like he was in an abandoned warehouse or an office building with no furniture in it.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he said
I
there was
felt
not
very
enough-
alone in my trip initially,
Yeah.
and then when I felt like there was another energy around me, it did feel different, and it was weird. I had a long conversation with
And that was John Lilly.
after it, and he was. I really liked the old guy. He was really a nice guy. And then afterwards, when I left, whatever, the next day, his assistant showed up and said, "You made a real impression on John. He'd like you to have his tank." Go figure.
Just gave it to you?
Yeah. He just gave it to
Wow,
you.
that's crazy. He probably felt bad. He probably didn't want you to sue him for fucking whacking him with ketamine and throwing him into a fucking
Right.
bathtub. He's like, this dude might sue me,
was
man.
some
You know what I'm
mafia
gonna
shit. Can I
do?
tell you
I'm
what's
gonna
funny?
work this. I'm gonna work this. I'm
was
gonna stroke
mafia.
it. I'm gonna call him up. I'm gonna say, yo, man, you are the shit, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna give you my tank.
Oh, Oliver Stone went the night before me in his tank.
Yeah?
Yeah, and freaked
I wonder if
out
he
too.
peed in there.
Yeah, he
jerked
took
off or
a
anything.
huge shit, and then Oliver Stone's a big pooper when he
I had
sleeps.
never really thought about that until just this minute.
I would have definitely thought
No,
that.
he did K though and did it. And
Yeah?
we both did it. Yeah, we got to talk
Wow.
about it years later. Him and I sit down and chat about our weekend at John's.
Wow. What a fucking freaky dude. Whack
John?
people out with Special K and throw them into a fucking tank of water.
You do know this is the guy that The Day of the Dolphin was made about. He's the guy that did
Yeah.
all of the research
Dude,
on
I got all his
dolphins.
books.
All of them, huh?
Yeah,
You have all
yeah.
of them, huh?
Oh, he's a bad motherfucker.
He was awesome.
He's got a great book where he actually shows. It's got the Deep Self has directions on how to make a tank.
Yeah.
Shows you how to make
Yeah.
it.
Well, that precursed the Satamari tank I got, isn't it? Satamari is how do you,
Samadhi.
Samadhi
Yeah,
tank I
Samadhi.
have.
Yeah, that's what I had too. I had one of those as well. Now I got a Float Lab one, the new crazy
killer
version.
version.
Have I showed you that?
Not yet.
Oh,
I
you gotta
can't
see
wait to
it.
see.
It's in the basement. You're gonna trip. It's the craziest thing. Of all
I think
time.
they're awesome, and I think a lot of people have never really been able to meditate within themselves. And when you get in this tank and there's no resistance on your body, and you can actually, you don't really hear and you don't really see, and you feel the same temperature as the surroundings around you, you really feel so boundless. And it's truly
You're flying through space, man.
You're flying
it's a
through space.
spaceship.
It
It's
is
a
a
spaceship,
spaceship.
man. That
It is a
downstairs is a
spaceship.
fucking portal to another world. It
Yeah.
really is.
It really is.
When
That's
you
a great
learn
way
how to
put it.
relax, once you learn how to relax, and it takes a few times, you have to do it a bunch of times, and depending on your personality, how good you are at truly letting go. But if you really learn how to let go, man, you go on trips in that thing.
Dude, I'd set an alarm at like 4 a.m. if I went to sleep before midnight, and I'd just like walk, because I had mine in my bedroom. I'd walk right to my tank, get back in it, and like go back to sleep. And like 4, 5, 6 o'clock, I would always wake up before 7, feeling like, man, I had just slept for so long. And I felt great. And my dreams would be so lucid, so incredibly real and tangible. And holy shit, I want to go write them down lucid.
That's intense. So you only had
Try
to walk a couple steps, so
Yeah.
you barely woke up.
Oh, I barely woke
And
up.
you went
That's right.
right back out.
out. Bam.
Oh, that's amazing.
You got it. It's awesome.
Mine's too far from my fucking bed. In the walking, I'd wake up going, "What the fuck are you doing with your life, Rogan? Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning, you fucking weirdo."
To go
Get your
meditate.
tank." And then I'll go on the internet and check my Twitter.
On the
what's
way
this?
down.
Ooh, UFOs. The Congress is what's going on here? Next thing you know, it'll be an hour later. I'll be like, "I'm gonna get some breakfast, man. I'm fucking hungry."
Totally awake, sipping coffee.
Did you see that shit that was on CNN? But all these former U.S. Air Force employees are coming out about UFOs,
Around nuclear arms.
about nuclear
Yeah.
facilities. That's fucking trippy shit, man. I wonder if these guys are all just nuts. I wonder if these guys are all kooks, or if they're like disinformation guys that work for the government. The government wants us to think there's fucking really UFOs, so they can just distract the shit
Another
out of people.
control
And-
mechanism.
Yeah, and meanwhile, Obama's passing all this legislation, making it easier for people to wiretap your emails and get into your fucking Twitter account, your Facebook pages, and they're passing all this legislation right under everybody's noses. I wonder if that's what it is. I wonder if it's just a distraction tactic.
I truly believe it is.
I mean, the UN appointed some chick to be the ambassador when the aliens come. Listen, bitch, you don't speak for me.
Is that real?
Okay. Yes! The UN just appointed
and what's the
an
fuck's her job?
ambassador.
Just sit around and wait?
She is I believe she's an astrophysicist, and her job is to communicate with the aliens. You don't talk for me, hooker.
Can I just say something? I got a dog. We have been on this planet evolving with dogs for thousands of years, and we don't speak Doberman. We don't speak German Shepherd. And how do we think that they're going to show up and suddenly we're going to be like, sit.
Right.
Good alien.
Up.
It's fucking hilarious.
Well,
up.
the idea
Alien want a
the
snack?
idea is that they're going to be so much more intelligent than
Unreal.
us. They're going to be able to understand what our language is. They'll be able to decipher our language. That's the hope and the dream.
I think they're going to show up and think, food, man, you look soft and juicy.
Well, what I've
That's
always
what we
said
do.
I'm
is
gonna
if you
fuck
look
these people.
if you
That's
look at what
Wow.
have sex
What's
if you look
worse?
at
Maybe
what
they just
every
eat us.
single-
We'd be like cows, you know?
if
Herd
you
them
look
up.
if you look at what every single intelligent life form on this planet does, they're going to make sure that they exploit everything weaker than them. That's
Right.
the ethic of space. It seems like it's the ethic of life
of
on this
space.
planet. That's
It is.
survival of the fittest. And when you're the fittest, you get to fuck the ones who are not as fit. That's just the way it is. What human beings do to dolphins and SeaWorld and what we do to killer whales, we know the killer whales rescue human beings that fall off boats. We know that there's never been a case in the wild of a killer whale, a documented case killing a human. The only times they've ever done it
Other
is
than SeaWorld?
That's the only times they've ever done it. Is in
Can't blame
captivity.
them.
And we know what dolphins do. Dolphins kill baby dolphins so that they can force the female dolphin to fuck. Dolphins are ruthless, man.
Is that true?
Yes, fuck yeah, it's true. Yeah.
They kill the
They
baby
kill the
dolphins.
babies.
How do they kill them?
That's what they kill them with their face.
Arr.
They kill them, yeah.
I
And that's
didn't
one of the
expect that.
reasons, yeah, dolphins rape the fuck out of each other too. And one of the reasons why female dolphins are whores is female dolphins are super slutty. And the reason being is because they have to fuck as many male dolphins as possible so that when they have babies, those male dolphins won't kill the babies. So the male dolphin will go, I
Could
fucked
be
that
mine.
bitch. That might be mine. Damn. They like her because they get to fuck her.
Where'd you
And
get this
It's all true. It's
breakdown?
all from documentaries. And so the idea being that the mother does not breed while she's with the babies. So it takes like 6 years or something like that before she's willing to breed again.
Before she breeds again?
Before she breeds again, because she has to take care of the babies.
How long does dolphin live?
It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know, but
You seem to
dolphins-
know a lot about their sex life. You
Dolphins are.
figure.
Well, I'm a freak. I'm a freak,
Just thinking
son.
about fucking one of those
I'm
dolphins.
just
Thinking about
saying.
fucking one for a while.
Oh my
They're so pretty.
If it only had a sheep's pussy, but it was a dolphin.
Right. I'd be in there, son.
Put those two together.
Yeah,
that'd
if you
be
could
the
fuck it
perfect
and it could
fucking-
drag you through the water at the same
Yeah.
time. Imagine
Take
that.
you on trips.
You go
and
like
fuck
30
it.
miles an hour.
You better be able to hold your breath.
God damn, that'd be
We're
good.
going to need to design some new dolphin that you
know.
can fuck.
That's right.
Or maybe you could just climb on the back of a dolphin and just get a fleshlight, attach it to the dolphin.
You
Just
could
fuck
probably
it.
do that.
Could be a
I heard it already feels good. There's videos on the internet of people fucking dolphins. Have you seen those?
No.
No.
Is that
Yeah,
that can't
yeah.
be real?
That's
That's
totally
not
real.
real.
No, that's
No one's
real.
fucking dolphins, dude.
I'll show it to you.
How's that
later.
possible?
Huh?
Their penis comes out and the woman gets
I
underneath it?
don't remember. It was a
You making this shit up?
no. I'm not.
no.
There's videos,
That
tons
can't
of
be.
videos of people fucking dolphins.
Can't be tons.
Actual sex, Brian?
Yes.
Oh, I need
show
some
you-
clarification.
I'll show you one.
Okay, we need to go deep on this one.
True story.
We can't just leave people out there thinking that there's human
I
beings
wonder
out
how
there
many
fucking
people are right now
dolphins.
going, this is bullshit. I will look myself.
Dolphins
Oh, a lot
sucks.
of people. That's the beautiful thing about the internet now. You know, I mean, instantly you can find out. You can Google and at least get the general consensus. I mean, you can't find out who killed Kennedy. There's some shit
No.
you can't find out.
But you can Google yes on 19 and
Yes.
help us win in California.
Yeah,
It's like 34 days
19.
away. Yeah, it's yeson19.com.
34 days away, and what are the most recent polls?
Recent polls show us winning. It depends on whose poll you look at, Fox or what have you. And, well, they make very human sounds. And,
What are you doing, Brian?
He's looking
Just
up.
finding out
Wait,
some
you
dolphin
said
sex
it wasn't
Is she
true.
doing it? Is it real?
Don't tell him it's
This
not
one doesn't look
true.
real.
It's not real. That
Well,
one's real?
he's on an iPhone.
That one's a guy with a
Everything's
fucking
censored by
dolphin,
Apple.
dolphin uniform.
Apple isn't going to let you look at porn.
Yeah, man. How you think you're gonna look at that on that?
They're going to say no dolphin porn, no good.
Yeah, but they can't stop you from going to all those websites now. They go to HTML5 because of the iPad. All the porn websites, none of them are Flash based anymore. They're like, oh, really? You can't get on the iPad? Oh, let's just change this shit up, son.
Whoa.
And they change everything to HTML5, and then that works on your iPad, and then you can watch porn on your iPad.
Who would have known innovation
Shazam.
leading the way again?
It's porn leading the way.
Hey,
son.
there are a lot of Christians who need their porn,
They do.
you know.
How about that new dude that got busted? What's his name? Eddie Long? Is that his name? The new big
Oh, with
black,
all the rings?
preacher got
Yeah,
busted.
how's
Banging
that?
some boys.
I'm just saying.
What is his name?
Dude, that's double bad because, brothers ain't supposed to be even thinking like
Yeah,
that. you know?
brothers do not get
No
down with the
homo,
gay.
man.
That's why the Proposition 8 passed in California. A lot of gay people were really pissed off at black folks because
Well-
black folks voted some ridiculous number,
Hey,
ridiculous percentage
Those
voted
white
for
folks
it.
should be mad at their Christian siblings who brought Christianity to all these poor people, because that's really the problem.
Okay, well, you're going back
Fake
with
morals,
a little bit
man.
far with your blame there, fella.
Whoa.
What is this guy's name? Ed Long? What was the guy's name that got busted? I want to read this online.
Couldn't be Ed Long. That's like his porn
No,
name.
you're right.
Due to the size of the dolphin's dick, the best way you can have sex with a male dolphin is to masturbate him.
Brian.
Missionary.
Yeah,
Not a
his
male
name
dolphin.
is
What
dude,
about a female
His
dolphin?
name
You're
is
so
Ed
gay.
Long.
My
His
God.
name is. It's
No,
Eddie
is it really?
Long. Yes.
Eddie Long?
It's true. Eddie Long. That's his
You
name.
couldn't write this fiction.
It's the
You really
best.
couldn't, man.
It's like you remember when that there was a
Eddie Long.
yeah,
Bishop
that's his
Eddie
name,
Long.
man.
It's
Look at
all
him.
in the name. You know it right
Look
from
at
the
him. Here's the
jump, there's
best
a
part.
problem.
Homie's got a pink tie.
Oh.
How about that?
So he's the one taking it.
Yeah, we're watching it. Not necessarily.
With the pink tie?
He's
Kind of
taking-
soft.
Yeah, but everything else is black.
Whoa.
His outfit's dark and strong, powerful. He's just letting
Whoa.
you know, I'm into
just
that boy
saying.
pussy.
Whoa. Bring him the flashlight.
This is a big ad. They make
Could
you
be a
watch
sponsor.
ads now.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not-
good at it. Captive ads. They're saying, fuck your TiVo.
I know. It's like the only time I ever watch ads now are when I'm trying to watch a YouTube clip or
That's
this
evil.
is CNN.com. But it's,
A&E.
hey, you know what, man? It's only 30 seconds. Whatever.
Whoa, of my life added up.
So this guy, this Eddie Long, another Christian man in a position of power that it turns out was actually banging boys. Shocking.
What if like the Catholic Church has been run by gays who are angry at the straight people this whole time, right? And they get to wear their dresses and have their fabulous cars and their drink out of their gold chalices and be covered in all these colors and live in total secrecy and then pick out the little gay kids right out of the straight
the only
audience.
flaw is that
Bing,
they
bing, bing.
hate Madonna.
Whoa, what do you mean, Madonna?
The churches hate Madonna,
And gay people love
Gay
Madonna.
people love Madonna, so that-
See,
that
therefore,
throws-
your
It's-
analysis
yeah,
does not
you
hold
said
water.
so, is it?
Whoa, I think it's true.
That's what you think it is? That it's
think-
an ancient gay cult?
Yeah, the
Makes
Pope,
sense.
Pope wearing
Yeah.
a dress.
Yeah, of course. The
Ain't
whole
gay.
deal. What's up with that crazy fish head hat?
All of them at the Vatican. And let me
All of
think.
them.
I don't want to fuck women. I want to go
Ever.
live with men for the rest of my
Yeah.
life. Pretty much a gay.
And you're not even allowed
Just
to
saying.
masturbate? Why not just...
Oh,
you're
nocturnal
just
emissions. Whoa, you
lying.
can't even dream about getting off.
Well, how about saltpeter? That shit they give them to
That's-
keep them from getting horny?
That's not true.
It's not real?
It's an urban myth, pretty much.
It's an urban myth, but
Isn't it?
they actually
Isn't
give
it?
it to them. Saltpeter's
Some
real
sodium
shit, dude.
stuff, I think. No, I don't think it is.
Might
They
not
say it
work.
in jail all the time. They say, oh, there's saltpeter in the food.
Really?
I don't know, whatever. I can't say.
Yeah.
I still dream of my girlfriends and wake up feeling fairly aroused even
Well,
if
I
I'm in
don't think
prison.
there really is saltpeter in jail. That's one of those urban legend type things. But
Total urban legend.
the whole idea is ridiculous. The whole idea that anybody would ask you to not have sex. Like, why would God give me a dick if I didn't want to use it?
God, don't procreate. Go.
Yeah.
right.
God doesn't not only does not want you to procreate, doesn't want you to feel affection, doesn't want you to love someone.
I love how people that talk about, there's no evolution, there's just creationism. They don't want to talk about incestual relations between Adam and Eve and all their kids.
Yeah, what's up
'Cause
with
where
that?
the fuck that come from? God show up again with a new boat? Hey, I got new fresh meat.
Yeah, there was a bunch of
Here you go for the
brothers and
garden.
sisters fucking like crazy.
Well, that would be what it had to be, wouldn't it? If you go with the Christians, and then they did all this in 6,000 years. So
Yeah.
what's up? You're my brother. What's up?
Yeah, that's
My
okay.
Christian
Just
brother.
Don't eat that apple because that
Whoa.
shit's bad.
No, and
Don't listen
I
to that
love that in
snake.
the Union. That was the first prohibition. The,
Yeah.
the prohibition of thou shalt not eat from the tree of knowledge. And who was the big cop, right? God.
there's
right? And how
always
many people?
someone.
Two people he had to police. And God, according to Christian mythology, couldn't handle prohibition.
Yeah, how hilarious is it? God would make some shit that he didn't want you to eat. And he'd tell you, don't eat it. I'm telling you, I will fuck your world up. Oh, you ate that apple that I told you not to eat? Well, guess what? You don't ever get a second chance. You're fucked forever. Your whole species is fucked.
Joe, do you ever wonder if that's? Do you wonder if that snake, that one snake, the original snake, ever made it? If he made it on Noah's Ark? Do you ever think about that? Like,
No,
I wonder
because that snake was the devil.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that
really
was
a
the
snake.
serpent. That was the
see, that's how
metaphor
much
of
I
evil.
know. I was just
You
like,
don't
I was
know,
hoping that snake made it.
Maybe that snake is all around us all the time.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
The whole idea that, they'll make fun of fucking Muslims or they'll make fun of Scientologists. They'll make fun of, like, oh, they've got the wrong thing. You better come to Jesus.
But see, I argue that everybody's an atheist because a Jew doesn't believe in a Christian God, and a Christian God doesn't believe in Buddha, and a Buddha doesn't believe in a Jewish God, and none of them believe in Muhammad. So it's really, they're all atheists because they don't believe in anything but their little fantasy, truthfully.
So they're all atheists to somebody else's shit.
To somebody else's shit. They don't believe in their other gods. So bam, suddenly we're in alignment. I just don't also believe with any of their gods.
It's amazing that there are so many different religions. Hundreds, literally.
We were lost. We needed direction. We needed
Right,
someone to
but
walk up and
what's
go, I know where the
amazing-
food is. I know where you'll be warm. I know
Right.
how to heal you sick when you die and come with me.
Right. It's amazing that there's so many different religions, but even though we know that they all say different shit, everyone is willing to die believing that the one they believe is right. Even though there's so many examples of contradicting ideas. For whatever fucking reason, we compartmentalize that when we, go down the road of being a Mormon or go down the road of being a Catholic or a Baptist. We just
We choose
don't
teams.
look at it. Just
we
don't
just
look
say,
at it.
this is my team and screw your team. And it's a very
To the death.
NFL mentality. Rah, rah, my team, boo, your
Yeah,
team.
it's all the same shit.
It is all the same
Yeah.
shit.
When
But
I was in
think that's
Indiana,
changing.
I was in Indiana for UFC. Anybody who fought somebody from Indiana, even if they were American, they would boo them.
Really?
You're not from Indiana. Boo!
Oh, that's
This is our
redneck.
local boy.
Hoosiers.
But think about it. But Indiana's great. Don't get me wrong. But the mentality is so fucked up that you're booing against other Americans because they're not from a similar place. They're not within a certain distance of where you sleep, so you don't even like them right now. Boo! He's going up against our guy. Like we don't just have Americans versus the rest of the world. We'll go down to neighborhoods. We'll break it down to neighborhoods. We'll break it down to the Hatfields and the McCoys.
The problem with Indiana is there's nothing else to fucking do there, and they're not known for much in Indiana. And so that movie Hoosiers came out. Everyone was like, sports is now our big thing. So now it's like,
Dude,
seriously.
the movie
There's
came out
nothing-
because sports is a big thing.
Right. But they're so proud of that movie, and that because that's all they have
Kind of.
living in
They
Indiana.
used to have this thing called the Indianapolis 500. That was kind of big to rednecks, too.
Yeah, they have a lot of shit, dude.
Yeah, so it's
Indiana's
very,
Not hating
very
on my redneck
sportsy.
friends.
Very
We've got to bring
sportsy.
farming back to the Midwest is what we got to do. We got to
Weed
really
farming.
bring
You
hemp
bring
back.
it back to weed,
Not
right?
weed, man, but hemp. We need hemp, man.
Well, I know-
Look, Farm Aid right now is in its 25th year, and the problem with it is 25 years, and they've gotten where? Because all these people they're trying to convince they built their farms on corn and cotton are completely wrong, and they're not going to have any economic independence back until they get their hemp back.
When in
and they get their
Indiana,
history back.
John Cougar Mellencamp came onto the screen and they booed him.
Really?
Boo.
In Indiana?
Yep.
I thought
He's
he was
from
from
Indiana.
Indiana.
He is. They think he's
They
a
didn't get the
liberal.
cue card?
He's a liberal.
Oh, he's liberal.
Fucking
really?
liberal.
Whoa. That's
It was crazy.
incredible.
They showed him. I expected everybody to go ape shit. Boo.
Wow.
Boo.
You know, in Ohio, the farms are getting so bad that they're like closing farms left and right. That a lot of the farms are turning into shopping centers. Where my mom lived, just in 5 years, used to be farms everywhere, and now it's like commercial buildings, and just they're losing all these farms because there's no money in it or something's not going on right in the farming industry in Ohio.
Well, it's very difficult to run a farm and make a profit. It's incredibly difficult. It's so fucking hard.
Especially when you're up against unfair trade practices and fucking fuels that come from 9,000 miles away.
Well, how about seeds? You know, you don't even own your seeds when you're a farmer. When you get seeds from
GMO
Monsanto,
is a big deal. And you know what? Hemp is the one thing that we need to really push that we don't have GMO control of. We have to stand up and ask for, our civil rights back. We have to demand them back. In fact, I mean, when we outlawed
well, let's explain the
plant,
seeds thing, though. What I was saying is seeds, when you buy seeds, if you're a farmer, you buy these seeds that have been made by this company.
Monsanto.
You don't own those seeds. You got those seeds, and when you plant your new plants and you grow, like, say, if you grow peppers, you can't take the seeds out of those peppers and grow more peppers. Because
really?
you don't own that.
That's right.
You don't own that.
right.
They will sue you.
Like copywritten.
They will sue you if you.
It is.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Monsanto has actually people that go around and test crops of people that they suspect are using a generation away from their last seed.
Wow.
And it's really scary. I mean, and
how crazy is that?
Now, can you take those seeds and like make new versions of that seed?
No,
or it can't have any trace of it at all. Is there even
it's
traceable?
genetically modified, so they know what the genome of this particular plant that they've created is.
Right.
So if you have that shit in your field, you have to pay them every year. Every year, you have to pay for new seeds. You can't. The way people always did it is you grew tomatoes, you took the seeds from the tomatoes, you grew more tomatoes. You can't do that now. It's illegal.
Wow.
Like, that is the nuttiest shit ever, and that's the number one reason for genetically modifying food is to control the market. And that's the number one reason also why marijuana will always remain illegal to a lot of people, or they'll want to keep it illegal, rather, is because they can't control it.
No, hemp is grown in every industrialized country other than America.
It's amazing.
Right.
How crazy is that? Canada, right up north, right above us.
Right.
They're growing it.
They grow all of the seed products that are in Whole Foods and all that nutrition
So
stuff.
all this is money that farmers could be making.
Here.
All this
Yep.
shit. All this
That's
shit.
absolutely
They're
right.
stealing from them. These cunts.
Yep, the government is stealing from them.
Stealing.
Hugely.
I love this
And
country,
it's stealing it by
guys.
denying them
the
their
best
own
country
history.
everywhere.
Fucking best country. Let's go to Indiana and
Proud
look at
to be
NASCAR.
an American. At least I know I'm free.
They're going to bomb California is what they're going to do.
What are they going to do, man? Because when that Proposition 9 takes over.
19.
And 19. Proposition 19. I was thinking gay. It's one above 8. When that shit goes into effect, if and when, it's going to change the culture. That's the big change. It's going to be in people's behavior. Because you can talk all the paper you want, but what the most fascinating thing to me is what it does to people socially. It changes the fuck out of human beings.
Right. Well, some of the things that people are coming out against Prop 19 is saying is that it's going to lend itself to corporations, and it's not true. Corporations are not
Who's saying that? Who's saying that?
Well, believe it or not, we have a lot of people that are in the medical marijuana industry that don't want to see Prop 19 passed because they're comfortable right now in their profiteering, and they don't want to see, a status quo change. And it's really sad because these are the people that would benefit the most when their local communities allow them to start selling to anybody over 21 without a doctor's note.
Right, but the doctors who've been making their living for all these years giving away prescriptions and charging $150 a pop, that's that source of income these guys have. That's
Doctors
the problem.
were historically wealthy, and they'll do fine actually practicing medicine, I'm sure.
Maybe, but when you're set up for years and years and years just giving out medical marijuana prescriptions and you're comfortable with it, and all of a sudden something's going to come along to make your business go away, and you're going to have to come up with some whole new business. If you're a selfish douchebag, I could see where you'd be like, man, I don't want this to pass.
Isn't that why the alcohol beverage industry is giving to the campaign against us?
Of course.
Isn't that why all these self-interested companies are stepping up?
Yeah, it's all the same thing, but we don't expect it out of the medical marijuana doctor.
Another lie I heard was that big tobacco money's behind this when it's such bullshit.
Proposition 19?
Yes, when you can look up and see where all the money came
thing
from.
Ever.
It realistically, though, Prop 19 was passed by somebody I've known for over 15 years. He's a really good person that really just wanted to do the right thing. He wanted to put forward a more liberal initiative, but he had cash and he polled the initiatives, and he found that more liberal initiatives were not polling well enough to actually pass. So he actually pulled back on the verbiage until he got an initiative that polled well enough to pass. And what a lot of people don't realize is that this is not the means to the end. This is a means to the end. It's not the end. It's just one small step in the evolution of getting our freedoms back. And this Prop 19 is going to be one step closer to having our rights back. And what a lot of people aren't talking about, which is pissing me off, is that we got Meg Whitman buying her way into the governorship. And we have Steve Cooley, who has been the guy down here in L.A., for those of you who don't live in L.A., who has been closing down all the Los Angeles pot clubs. And if this guy gets the top cop position in the state of California and Prop 19 loses, all of these idiots, and I'll say you are idiots that are going against Prop 19 that are selling medical marijuana are going to lose your businesses and lose your freedoms. And the only thing that's going to protect you right now is if everybody in the state gets the rights that you have been getting for the last 14 years since medical marijuana passed.
Well, let's not
cop's name?
concentrate on these dildos. Let's concentrate on that. Yeah, let's concentrate on that cop. Not
What's the cop's
concentrate
name?
on-
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Steve Cooley is
This is the guy.
that's running for attorney general, and he's basically running against somebody that's against the death penalty. And in California, you might as well be running against somebody unopposed.
He's running against someone who's against the death penalty?
Yes.
Oh, so he's running unopposed.
In that sense, he is,
Yeah.
absolutely. And when he gets in, his agenda is to do in the state
Why
what
does
he's
he wanna-
already done in L.A.
Well, why does he want to shut down medical pot stores? What's-
Ideologically, who knows what he's invested in? Who knows what his reality's from?
It's
who
whoever
knows what
is
it's
a
you
part of
know,
his campaign.
It's
Now,
all
what
part of
happens-
his life, you know. Who knows who really he's loyal to in that sense, you know.
But there's something. There's some campaign contributions. There's something. There's something going on.
I would
that's
love
causing
to be
him
able to
take
find
that
it,
stance.
follow the money forensically, and see exactly what
has to
changed
be,
these
right?
people. Because in some ways, there's got to be strings pulling them, you know. And it's not cheap to run a campaign in the state of California. You need to get on the sides of people with a lot of money.
Well, that's
and
where that
pot
Meg Whitman
people
chick
don't have
is
a lot of
strange.
collective money.
That
oh,
Meg
Meg is
Whitman
blowing
chick,
big money.
She is very, very rich. And what is she? What was her position in eBay? She had something to do with eBay.
She, I thought, founded.
Not founded. She was the one that was brought in and like brought them from being a very small
Right.
company to a very large company. She helped organize them and she rode their growth curve.
Right.
Okay, so she made a ton of money off eBay, and now she wants to be the governor, and she's spending how much money to do this?
She's already spent over $100 million of her own money to become governor. Yeah.
$100 million for a job that pays $200,000 a year.
Google it, people.
How much does
Yeah.
how much does it pay?
It pays nothing. And this is the scarier part. It's like, what do you think she's going to accomplish
she
with this
doing?
$100 million influence?
What is she doing this for?
It's testament to their ego, you know? It's building a big, you know. Why
that
did
what it
Arnold
is?
do it too? And you know, this is
Did
the
you just
part.
turn my volume down?
No.
This is the part that kind of bothers me is that this is more of what we've had for a long time. It's just that now we're looking at it and we're grossed out by it. But don't think before newspapers and internet carried the word that robber barons weren't running politics going back to the 30s and 40s and 50s. And when I say they, I don't mean to sound like some conspiracy nut. I mean to sound like somebody that's realistic about the fact that alcohol got together after Prohibition and went, yo, who's our competition? Oh, these kids are smoking this loco weed out of... and then we should go
okay,
after
but
that.
let's look at it this way. Okay, this
But
Meg
that's
Whitman.
true.
Okay. This Meg Whitman woman, she is obviously very wealthy. So it's going to be very difficult to buy a person who's very wealthy. She's very wealthy. So why would this very wealthy person want to stop medical marijuana in California? Because that is what she wants to do. What would be her motivation? Because it would not be financial, right? She doesn't need the money. She's spending $100 million
Can
to
I say
become
this?
governor. You don't think that the alcohol companies for sure are not giving her $100 million to kill
When
weed?
you have that much money, Joe, it isn't sitting in a locker at the edge of your bed. It's sitting in investments, and I'd love to know what her portfolio is vested in because she has people that are actually standing there saying, this is what I'll advise you to do. And anybody that's advising somebody that has literally hundreds of millions of dollars vested away is going to say, listen, this initiative is bad for your liquor investments. It's bad for your pharmaceutical investments. It's bad for your
So you think it's
petrochemical investments.
purely a financial decision on her part?
I think a lot of why we're dealing with prohibition and why we're dealing with people that are against it is because of the financial connections they have. And the more wealthy they are, the more people lean against them. How few, in a sense, do we have of you? Because here you are a guy that made it in TV, 5 years on news radio, 5+ years on Fear Factor. You have a career. You will have advisors around you saying, listen, Joe, if you do stupid stuff, it's going to not get you the big jobs. It'll pay a lot of money. And then I'm not going to make money. So are those persons going to advise you to go be the activist that you've become? Or are they going to say, bro, really? Because I know that a lot of other actors have to stop and think, man, I won't get hired if I start getting all radical. And that's what they really believe. So they toe the line. You are so rare because you haven't toed the line. You said, fuck it. I'd rather be happy and be myself than be some slave to a corporate, dictation.
Yeah, well, you don't have to do it that way. Those guys are pussies.
A lot of them are.
That's really what it is.
But when
you
I
can
look
be yourself
at it,
as long as you're a nice person.
But how few Woody Harrelsons and Joe Rogans do we have speaking up for the right reasons?
Well, you know what? A lot of people have families and they want to play it safe and they feel conservative and they get paranoid and they don't trust in the greater good of humanity and the people's ability to see what they're seeing. They don't have faith in their ability to express themselves so that people understand the point of view that they have and where they're coming from.
Right.
I have
they'll
confidence
actually,
in my ability to express myself.
And you do it for us all
Well,
in
I
a
think
way that
it's important for everybody. I think everybody should and would do it. If you're a rational thinking person, why would you live your life pretending to be something other than who you are? You know, why would you not want people to know about something that's radically changed the way you look at the world? Why would you not want to? Why? Because fucking Meg Whitman says it's bad? Look at that bitch. Get the fuck out of here.
Did she quit or get fired from eBay?
I don't know. Because she's a woman who wants to be in control of things. And that's always freaky
she
to me.
probably
I don't need a mom.
Isn't
okay?
eBay 75% of eBay's audience stone people in the middle of the night buying shit? She should know her audience.
I don't know.
She probably pulled a Sarah Palin.
Probably got fired.
You know,
She's
just whacked away for more lucrative
It's
investments.
creepy, man. Women that want to run shit creep me out.
No,
I know it sounds gross, but it's totally
it
true.
shouldn't sound
Why?
gross. Because
Hillary Clinton, she doesn't creep you out?
she is a
Creeps
creeper,
me the fuck out.
right? But
Condoleezza Rice, if Condoleezza Rice was running things, don't you think you'd freak the fuck
way
out?
creepy. But there's a
Creepy,
lot of creepy
dude.
guys. Dick Cheney
Right,
creeps
they're
me
creepy
out.
too. I'm not saying I
Right.
want guys running shit, but at least they've been doing that forever.
My
when a
only-
chick wants to hop in there and compete with the men, I'm like, what are you crazy bitch? What are you doing? You're not balanced. You ain't no fucking yogi. You're not gonna see through the maze. You're fucking just as crazy as the men, if not crazier, because you have to because you're a woman.
And because they're going to prove that they're tougher than the men they're
I was
replacing,
terrified.
and that scares me.
There was a moment where Hillary Clinton was running for president where I was thinking, you know what? She's going to win. And what if she wins and she gets into a position where one of these crazy fucks from another country tests her because she's a woman? I mean, if assuming that political power is real and that the president really has any say and that anybody in another country really does pay attention to him, that it's not all this big, gigantic Bilderberger meeting group, assuming that a president is real. Could you imagine what Putin would do if he sat across from fucking Hillary Clinton or Sarah Palin at some sort of a negotiations?
It's
meeting?
horrible.
He would crush them.
Crush.
Mock them. He would.
Well, because most cultures put their most intellectually capable people in power,
Yeah.
and not their
Not a woman. Yeah.
best idiots, the
Well,
class
it's just.
clowns.
I mean, it's just. It's not that men should be running shit.
Right.
It's not because I
It's the
think
most capable
I think the
people.
idea of the alpha, the idea of having a leader, is fucking ridiculous. I think it's some archaic shit that we have to figure a new way around. So I'm not saying that men should be running shit,
I
but I'm
totally
saying that
agree with that.
anybody who's a woman that wants to run shit. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, you don't even have a dick. Why are you trying to control everything? What are you doing? Why are you trying to fucking grab the reins?
I don't
What are you
know.
doing? I don't want to be president. Okay, I don't want to be a leader. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I am better than a woman who would be doing the job. I'm saying when I see a woman who wants to be a leader, I understand the man wanting to be a leader. It makes sense to me. Even if I don't believe in it or agree with it, I understand it. When I see a woman that's want to do it, I'm like, look at that crazy bitch. That's what I think. I think you want to be the king of the world and you're a chick? Whoa. You know?
There's an
But
alpha
yet
gene in there.
Iceland's not in wars, and they had a
They ain't
female
got shit over
president.
there. And it's frozen.
I was trying to think of all the female leaders around the world. I'm like, there's a lot actually.
It's totally sexist.
Whole lot
for
of
me.
queen
It's
Beatrices and
It's
stuff
totally
around the world.
sexist. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think anybody should be a leader. I think the whole idea
I like
is
that
based
so much
on
when you
some.
say that.
It's based on some leftover fucking shit from back when we were a tribe of 200 monkey people, and we needed a leader to protect us from the other monkey people who wanted to rape our women and take our food. I mean, that's what it is. The idea that one person can represent the whole country like a president, I don't give a fuck if he has a cabinet. I don't give a... The idea that there's a one guy that stands
It's
there and,
retarded.
ladies and gentlemen, the president of the United States. You know, like,
He's
come
just
on.
a voice,
No,
though.
But it's even the voice, even the figurehead, even
It's
the
a descendant
representative.
of royalty. It certainly
It's
is.
an avatar.
It
the
is.
whole idea is ridiculous. It's so
But they
ridiculous.
created our whole structure in America to compete against what they were fighting. Which
And then
was
they
England.
became that and worse.
And they became way worse. Right. Way worse. It's beautiful. I love this.
I'm going to hear so much shit from my female friends.
Well, thanks.
You don't
for-
think women should be running things?
Oh.
What does that mean? You think men do it better? Maybe men have been doing it wrong for so long. Maybe it'd be good for a woman to give it a try. Like,
You're definitely comfortable
But
in your
that's-
relationship, John.
That's
What do you
not a
mean?
worldly thing to say if she's a woman.
what do you mean?
Meaning, like, I would never, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be like, yeah, fuck, women should be presidents. You know, right now I'm like, yeah.
What was his name,
women
John
should
Bobbitt?
totally to be presidents.
What are you talking about?
He's saying he's afraid to get his dick cut off when he goes home, and he's obviously saying you're not. So.
No, bro. What he's saying is you misread. He's
Whoa.
saying is he's trying to pretend to be someone different, so he's attracted to
Right,
females.
well, I'm not going to start bashing the female race.
That's
right
what it
now.
is. I'm not bashing the females' race. Listen, most
God, no,
women.
but female
that's how
race.
women
Okay,
take that.
listen. Well, the women that take that are cunts. And you listen. I'm not bashing the female race because I'm not bashing the male race that doesn't want to be president. You know, most of the male race doesn't want to be president. You don't want to be president. It's not a male thing. It's a leader thing. But what I'm saying is, I understand the creepy fuck control freak men. I understand that instinct. But when I see a chick that wants to rock that,
Right.
I go,
Yeah.
what's going on there? You
Creepy
see like
weird.
Sarah Palin Palin. I guess one way Sarah Palin is just this dummy that got stuck into a nice position and she's trying to make some money. I mean, that's really what it is. But after a while, it's not that anymore. After a while, it's like, well, you're the figurehead for the retard movement, and you're just like them, and you got a microphone on you, and there's a spotlight on you, and oh, now you're a fucking problem because you never were supposed to get to this point. And somehow you've artificially been inserted into the public consciousness with no merit, and now all the retards go, just like me! Woo!
I hope
and they rise up and start these fucking Tea Party rallies. Have you watched any of that shit?
They're crazy.
God damn.
Insane.
And Glenn Beck is just making gold underwear and gold socks and diamond covered fucking cars. I mean, that guy must be just scraping it in with rakes. He's so obviously full of shit too. It's like his game only works on the dumb. But there's so many dumb people. It's a very effective tactic. Him and her together, man. They scare the fuck out of me.
Double dumb.
Glenn Beck and Sarah Palin, if they combine forces like they did at that Tea Party meeting,
president.
dude, they could run for president, man. That's real shit.
I hope the first president's a black lady with a lisp and that's totally a lesbian. I hope it's like every single horrible thing that's wrong with, banning gay marriage, women presidents. I hope it's all combined into one like super president that just pisses off everybody.
I hope it's an alien.
An alien.
I hope an alien wins in the disguise of a human being and then tells everybody.
Now that we have a diplomat,
Listen,
we'd like to use
now
her.
that I'm in place and I'm running shit, you bitches need to sit the fuck down. We've been thinking about exterminating you fucks for about 50 years now.
I thought your
time to
concept
get
of
it
us being
together.
mold was really accurate.
Well, it is
mold.
a giant life form. It's a giant life form on a superorganism. That's what the human race is. The human race is on Earth. Earth is a life form. It is a superorganism. We don't think of planets that support life as a life form, but because it's an environment where life grows. But I'm not so sure about that. If you look at lava in the center and the magnetic core, and you look at the magnetosphere and the atmosphere, and this is it's not just a place where life is. It's almost like a system.
It's alive and
It
we're
might be
nerve endings.
conscious.
Yeah.
We don't know what's conscious, man. We're guessing. And we assume that conscious means that it can talk like us and move like us, but we don't know. There's a lot of evidence that there might be something going on inside trees, some sort of a fucking reaction that trees and plants have to people.
Well, think of cellular intelligence. You know? And that's really where we've always thought, oh, it's in our brain. And then there's this myth that we don't even use our own brain, all of our brain. And it's like, really? How many of us, are you stupid that you believe that your whole body's not actually shooting at all marks right now? And I think that our capability of intelligence is really, really deep.
Well, that's a metaphor, I think, for wasted potential. Like people have this idea, that we're only using 10% of our brains if we just really concentrate. No one even knows what that means. What does that mean? You're only using 10% of your brain. What's going on with the other 90% of your brain? We don't even know what
it's useful.
Well, you know how we know how the brain works? When we blow holes in parts of the brain, we shoot people in parts of their head, and then we go, oh, you can't see anymore. I guess that's the part where you see out of.
It is.
We drill a hole here,
Oh,
and
look, he still
all of a sudden he's
talks.
calm. Well, I guess this is the part that makes him aggressive. We'll just drill a hole in that bitch.
That was the lobotomy.
That's what they did. When people got a little nutty, they go, look, what do you want to do? You want to kill him? You want to drill a fucking hole in his head and see if we can fix him?
One flew over the cuckoo's nest.
Yeah, it went too far.
Yeah, they would fix people by drilling holes in their head. Holla back.
Holla back, y'all.
There's a whole group of humans that voluntarily put holes in their head, and they believe that it alleviates pressure and gives them euphoria, and that the pressure of the growing brain trapped inside the skull causes headaches and all sorts of problems. And in Africa, there's fucking cultures that have done this where they literally cut the entire skull. I posted it on Twitter. See if you can find it. I mean, I don't know what you would look under. There's a term for it. There's a term for it for
Extreme
cutting
acupuncture.
holes in someone's head where they call shit. I'm fucking up here because there's an actual term for it, but people do it on purpose. It's like it's a. See if you can find that.
But
man.
people are crazy.
Voluntary holes
Tree
in the head.
panning?
Yes, tree
panning?
TREPANING.
It's often relieve pressure beneath a surface, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and there's a video of these African dudes where they do it with no anesthesia, and they do it with these fucking stone tools. They strip away your fucking scalp and cut out your bone. And they don't just do it once. They do it as many as 20 times. They
In
have
a
this
life?
yeah, and they fuck their brains up because dudes are. Not only that,
You
they have to
don't
wear
say.
they have to wear hats from then on.
I'm sure.
Because their brain is exposed. There's a canoe shaped cutout on the top of their fucking skull.
Dr. John Clark was the first one to do it in 1664.
And he taught the Africans how to do it?
That's what they're saying. U.S. I'm sorry, U.S.
U.S.
American.
Well, who knows? He might have. It might have been just like religion. We brought Christianity over to Africa.
It just says first physician to perform it in the U.S.
And he did it as alleviating pressure on someone?
Yeah.
Whoa. It's like, if
That's
you can
crazy.
think about it, someone's out there doing it, man. You've seen those women in Suri, is that where it is in Africa, where they cut their lip and stick a plate in it? Have you seen that shit? You know what I'm
No.
talking. You never seen the plates in the lower lips?
Yeah. I didn't know the Siri. I didn't know the name.
It's the most
That's weird.
insane thing. It's not just weird. The bigger the plate, the more cows they're worth when they get married. So, like, say if you want to marry my daughter, okay, and she's got a giant-ass fucking plate, I'm like, bitch, that's a 50-cow plate. You got to come strong, son.
Right.
So dudes would have to give
Bring
up
me a herd.
They have to give up a herd because she's willing
Got
to
big
carry
plate.
around this giant plate in her lips.
What else is she
They
willing
bang
to
their
carry
teeth
around?
out too. They have to bang their lower teeth out because the plate sits there, and you can't get a full plate in there if you have the lower teeth. So when the plate starts getting big, they have to smash their teeth out.
Yeah. Can you imagine what blowjobs feel like? Probably it's
Well,
like
with
How
the plate?
much does Africa suck
Yeah.
Oh
that
my
people are
God.
willing to do that? You're willing to put plates in your lips and cut holes
the
in your
neck
head.
thing where they stretch
Oh,
the neck
yeah.
out.
It's all Africa.
That's fucking crazy.
They must be so freaked out they got stuck in Africa. They're like, look, we're going to make this interesting.
Right.
Here we are, stuck running from hyenas and getting eaten by crocodiles and shit. We're going to have to stretch our necks out. Let's make our necks real big.
Whoa. Who knows why they do these things?
Well, how about those heads they found in Peru where they stretched their head out gigantic like a big alien head? And they like did it to like a huge percentage of the population. They put boards in their heads and tied them down and literally extended their head. And, you know, and people were thinking, well, is this to emulate something? Is it to emulate the gods? All the Anunnaki people, like, see, this is evidence. They were doing this to try to emulate. Maybe not, because look at these Africans that cutting the fucking holes in their lip and sticking plates in there. Or the dudes cutting the holes in their heads and letting the air out. You know, they're not emulating anything.
No. They're just practicing medicine.
They're fucking nuts, man. People are nuts.
Well, they're still kind of nuts.
Or they're
too.
trolling everyone.
You know what's freaky? The disease I had as a child, I found out in the mid-'80s, they stopped treating aggressively. That, like, more when I was in the 70s, I was more a victim of fucking chemotherapy and elective surgeries, or not elective surgeries, but surgeries that weren't needed, and radiation than I was of the actual disease because they were practicing.
What?
Yeah, you know what's fucked up too is the X in histiocytosis X meant that the ethology of the disease was unknown. And when I first asked an adult, you know, where did my disease come from? And they went, "Ooh, we don't know." And I was like, wait a minute, who's we? You and me? Or like, we like
So what
humanity?
exactly is the disease? Histio
It's
what?
like an overactive immune
Say it-
system.
say the name again?
It's histiocytosis X.
and it's an overactive immune system?
Disease. Right. Like I would have too many white blood cells, and they would, like in a sense, accumulate, if you will. And usually it was in like bone marrow and areas like that, and it creates like blowouts. So like my spine, it blew out. My arm, it blew out. My hip, it blew out.
Would it get better if you got sick?
What do you mean sick?
If you got a cold?
No. Because
Well,
you
if
think
white blood cells are there to
right? No. Think no.
you fix
But I
yourself
don't
by being
usually
around
ever
people
get
who are
sick.
sneezing all the time.
But it's funny is I don't really ever get sick. Either I have problems where like obviously it was overgrowing, you know, in marrows and stuff, or I'm always healthy. I went through prison 5 years. I didn't get a cold.
Whoa.
Yeah, and that's a
crazy.
germ place. Let me tell you. But
Start licking toilets and stuff.
How?
well,
Yeah.
I don't like touching doors and shit though. I'm not a germaphobe, but I'm careful.
People are gross.
Yeah.
People are nose picking, ball scratching, ass fucking wiping, just disgusting fucking.
Which is why I always recommend you use a
Creatures.
tissue from the bathroom when you open the door to any public
I
restroom.
kick mine
Yeah.
open like a man.
Not if you got to pull it. Play with a man.
Yeah.
The
What are
wrong
you gonna do if
direction.
you have to twist it and pull it?
Usually
Fuck,
you
son.
do, actually. So,
Yeah,
you
gotta get
use
some
a
paper
piece of towel. Yeah. There's ways you can protect yourself.
And if we had hemp, we could be using hemp towel, man.
You just have to clean it, man.
Dude, we should get some hemp flashlights.
Which
How-
is why we have to vote yes on 19.
Yeah, vote yes on 19. It's very important. And if you're one of those people out there that goes, man, potheads are fucking annoying. Unfortunately, there's a lot of potheads that are annoying. You know, most potheads
A lot of
are
straight
just like
people are
most
too, though.
people. Yeah, like most people. A good percentage of people are annoying. And the reason being is because we do not have a direction book on how to properly live a healthy life. A healthy, fun, satisfying life. You know, we live our lives based on myths and bullshit, and TV shows and movies and And we have this distorted perception of what this fucking world is all about. So most people, with this, especially with the situation that we have now, the way our world is set up, it's so easy for a moron to just drift through and be taken care of every step of the way, and yet have opinions, and yet be able to vote.
George Bush Jr.
Well, Sarah Palin, man, that's way scarier than him.
Gary Coleman.
At least he was a man.
Whoa.
That's right, I said it.
Gary
I don't
Coleman.
give a fuck.
Wow.
Gary Coleman who can vote.
Yeah.
Angry as fuck.
I'd been angry too after his whole bad life.
Yeah.
No, I'm
The
kidding.
saddest part of his life
I would
was
not have been
when he was
angry.
in the hospital dying, and his fucking crazy cunt ex-wife takes a picture and sells it to of him like all strapped up with pipes and shit, dying in bed, and she's right next to him with his like dead.
She did that?
Dead fucking rubber face. Just like didn't have any emotion in her eyes, nothing. Like, yep, here he is. He's dead, and this is me. I'm next to the dead guy.
That's horrible.
Oh, it's gross.
She
man.
probably has that shit on like
You never
mouse
seen it?
pads.
I'm pretty sure.
Whoa. I've never seen that. I did not know she did that.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
I'm
dude.
learning. Well, you got it saved even, huh?
I think I should.
Oh, whoa.
Usually I do.
You know, I can't thank you enough for coming out in support of Prop 19, man.
Well,
I mean,
dude, you know I enjoy the marijuana, so of course I've got to support Prop 19.
you know, a lot of people have been really confused on what this really does, man. And, you know, that's been a big
Yes.
problem for us because,
That's
you
what
know,
I was talking about when I'm saying most people. Well, you look at potheads and you think they're annoying.
Right. Really, I'm finding them annoying right now because I can't believe all these people I was working around that I thought was working towards a common goal are now working against it. And it's,
Because a lot of people are against Prop 19. That's what you're saying?
a lot of people are against not Prop 19, not for the right reasons either. People
For
that-
financial reasons.
financial reasons, or in some just
That's
inaccuracies.
how much most hippies are, though. Every time I ever was hung out with hippies, they were trying to make money, like making profits and
don't-
Yeah,
selling
there's
and
a
buying.
lot-
The only
the
thing about that, there's
idea-
a lot of non-hippies that are just
Yeah.
commercially motivated.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people that have just got in this industry in the last few years
Yes.
since SB F420 passed and allowed for clubs. They're trying to make money, and right now they think, oh no, you're going to change this, and we like this, so please don't change this. And that is really what we're up against.
You're
you know,
right.
when it comes from the enemy within, if you will.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't hippies. They're opportunists.
They are.
I know a bunch of people that are in the business.
The idealists.
That own,
Oh.
Yeah, the people that own like dispensaries, they're doing it purely for profit. I know
Some.
a lot of people.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah,
You know,
there's a lot.
Berkeley
They're all
Patients Group,
good.
Harborside.
They're all good.
There's a
They
lot of
all
good ones.
Provide something that's good. Marijuana is good, but there's a lot of people that you wouldn't expect. They're not like old dudes with gray hair and ponytails. You know,
Right.
They're young dudes that look like they're
Right.
fucking doing squats.
Right.
You know?
Well, Prop 19 is going to make it so these people aren't having to get away with it. They're going to be able to service their neighbors who have a right to have pot, and everybody in the state's going to have a right to grow pot, and that's going to be a big, big.
Yeah,
change.
so all these people that are selling it, the shit's going to go under because no one's going to need to buy it. You can
Right.
just grow your own.
Well,
it's so easy.
you're going to see the prices drop,
Well-
thankfully. You know, and
Radically.
and profits are going to drop. And right now, you know, it's the liquor companies, it's the big drug cartels. These are the people that are.
I'd be
against
more
us.
than willing
The
to
cops.
pay exactly what I'm paying right now. Just keep making it just as good. I'll pay just as much.
no,
I'm not
that's a
growing
bad
Can I
idea.
say this though? There's
not
always going to
growing
be
it.
$1,000 bottles of
bad
wine,
idea.
Yeah.
you know, and there's
Right.
going to be people that do things with a high quality. And grandma could grow better pot than me, for instance, and you'll want grandma's pot over mine. That's
I want
reality.
to bulk like Cheetos. I want to just like
But see-
piles of it. Just be like throwing joints out my
No.
window.
The
I
only
want it
thing
to be
about
just
that
crazy.
though is that it doesn't really lend itself for quality with quantity, because when you have large amounts of it, you don't have, in a sense, is good a quality
Right.
control
Right now,
in
though.
smaller batches.
now.
Now let's just talk about one thing for the non-smoking, non-marijuana smoking amongst us. This is one of the things that really fascinated me the most when I first found out about marijuana. When I was a kid, I thought marijuana was bad for you. It made you stupid, all these different things. But when I first started smoking weed, the thing that fascinated me the most was that there are two completely different strains that have very
That's
different
wrong.
effects.
Just
They're
so you
not
know.
different strains?
Okay, let me
Indica
break
and
this down. Can
sativa.
I say this right now? All right,
Yes.
there's a lot of confusion in this. Before I went to prison, a friend of mine, he wrote Marijuana Botany, and he later wrote the book Hashish, been revised. His name's Robert Carnell Clark. He's forgotten more about cannabis than I've had an opportunity to learn. And while I was in prison, these scientists actually looked at the specimens of sativa and indica. And sativa and indica were questions. So if I walked up to you with seeds, Joe, it would actually be, does this make clothing and paper and all this stuff? Or is it like India? Because if you look up the word
So that's
indica,
the names.
indica means Of or like India.
Okay.
Okay. So when you go to India, all of the cannabis that's grown there is indica because it's in India. But when you go there, you'll find tropical varieties down by Goa and northern varieties up by the area that's now Pakistan and Hindu Kush. That is the entire range of cannabis, and it's all indica.
The history lesson is interesting, but
Sativa.
for everyone today who wants pot, there's two different effects. Indica makes you sleepy, and it makes you couch weed. It makes you what a lot of people think of as a stoner. Sativa is a totally different experience, and it makes you much more introspective. It makes you start looking at fucking telescopes and space documentaries.
Okay.
So
Let me say it
if
like
it's not a
this.
strain, what should we call it?
Well, it's an equatorial variety. It's from near the equator. Because let me
but
break this down.
There's two different effects, though, correct?
It
This is
is.
what I want people who are not
yes.
pot smokers to understand
Ask
this.
for
And when you go into
haze.
these deep historical...
It's not, but think
two
of it
different
like
things,
this.
right?
In the 60s and 70s, all the pot that was coming into America was like Acapulco Gold, Michoacan, Maui Wowie, Jamaican. All of these strains were from near the
Tropical.
equator, tropical. They made you happy, horny, well-organized, wanting to do things like protest. And then the hippies went to Afghanistan. They found this short, fat-leaved plant that they thought was indica, and they started mixing it with all these tropical varieties like Maui Wowie and Thai stick and stuff, and they shortened the time it takes to flower cannabis, and they picked varieties that yielded the most amount of pot because it was
And the
prohibited.
reason being is that the ones that were equatorial, the ones that were growing on the equator, needed a longer cycle of sun.
Because it's right. Because
Right.
they're in a 12-12
And those are the
growing cycle.
ones that have the different psychoactive effect. The ones that come in contact more with the sun are the ones that make you...
Not so much more with the sun. It's just the varieties that develop near
or near
around the equator
where there was a longer cycle.
are more, in a sense, psycho, and
So
in a sense,
to
they
be
wake
grown
you
in
up.
America, they have to be grown indoors.
Yep. And then what happened is the hippies, in a sense, started breeding this Afghan with all of their tropical varieties. And through the 80s, we kind of developed this one-hit wonder pot that took away all that good energy and took away all that. And now, for me, I always smoke haze. I like super silver haze and then a 5x
For
haze.
people who
and
don't understand what you're saying, haze means sativa.
in a sense, it does. In the sense, our terminology of sativa. But sativa really means most useful.
Okay,
in a
but what the
sense.
way? Okay, that's true. But that's not how it's used in dispensaries.
They're
Dispensaries,
changing.
indica and sativa is how it's used. Sativa is the heady, more trippy space weed, and
Right.
indica is couch weed.
High energy,
Well, see,
indica's low
my
energy.
whole point in the beginning was I did not know there was two different types of pot. I thought pot was pot, and that all pot had a similar effect. Some pot may be stronger than other pot, but it's basically all pot. You're going to smoke pot. You'll either get really
Right.
high or what, but it's not the same. It's not even remotely the same. There are two different experiences, and almost everyone is used to indica because indica is the easiest shit to grow. Indica is the shit that you're getting if you're getting it from some dudes are coming down from they're in Canada growing
Most
it in the fucking
commercially
Mexican
available.
forest.
brickweed.
It grows the fastest and yields
Yeah,
the most.
exactly.
And now that we're getting through Prohibition, we'll see these varieties that take longer and yield less, but have a profoundly different effect on our energy and our thinking and our motivation.
Exactly. So how is it wrong? What I was saying.
Well, it's not sativa. Everybody's calling it sativa, but sativa really means hemp. It's Indo-European hemp variety.
Right, but we've decided they're
We
all just
haven't.
names, though.
Look,
But everyone universally in the pot community, they're looking at two different things: indica and sativa. That's what they called it, right? That's just universally in the pot community. They're all just a noise you make with your mouth to describe something.
Absolutely.
Okay,
But
so
we'll be
there's two
making
different
a different
things.
noise soon.
We're not going to call it sativa and indica. Well, it's
We
going to
won't
confuse
call
the
it
fuck out of
sativa.
people. That's what it is.
No. Right now, we look.
Well, what are we gonna
In
call
all
it?
reality, California's not that
High
developed.
weed and couch weed. What are we going to call
no,
it?
we'll call it names like Arrowhead or Avion or whatever we're calling that water at the time. We don't really go give me a bottle of water when we're sitting in a 5-star restaurant. We say, do you have Avion or do you have?
No, I say bottled water. What am I, a fucking water connoisseur?
And now-
I just want water.
Okay, now trip on this. The same way right now you walk up to a weed counter, it's almost like the same thing because you can't make distinguishes like you do liquor. And when you walk up to a bar, you know the difference between wine and whiskey. And if you order whiskey and they hand you wine, you're going to be like, yo, douchebag, this isn't what I asked for.
Right, but when I go
right
to the
now,
pot store, I say, hey, where's your sativas? Oh, we got Jack Cleaner, we got Trainwreck. Or give me some of that Trainwreck.
Yeah.
And then, that's what we do.
But technically, all drug varieties are indica.
What? No,
Yes.
there's two different
Yes.
types, though.
When you go to India and you get indica and it's from
Fuck
Goa and
India.
it's
India
tropical.
suck my dick. There's two different experiences. We've
There's
broken this down. For
there's
people who don't know, look, practical knowledge, this is very important. What all he's saying is all nonsense. There's two different experiences.
True.
There's the couch weed, and there's the weed that makes you think about the universe and want to be creative. So that's sativa. That's what they call it. The indica shit is OG Kush. I'm gonna take a nap and eat Cheetos all day.
That's what
You know,
that's
hate
what
to
they're
say this,
selling
though.
it as.
OG grows very much like a sativa, just so you know. It's long and leggy and grows tall and has small buds. And
Right, but
hate to
it's-
break
but the
that.
feel-
well,
feeling's
it's a more
Different
potent
feeling.
version of the
But you
indica.
want to know what's weird? My haze, my sativa, you're calling it, came
Mm-hmm.
back at 23.7 THC, and my OG Kush Indica, you call it, came back at 20.6. There was a 3.1 difference in
Right,
THC.
but aren't there a bunch of different things, cannabinoids other than THC, that make up the
Yes.
high? It's not just THC.
Well, actually, I think that there was a doctor at an institute.
By the way,
of
we should
medicine-
point out that Todd knows his shit. Where's your book? Before we go any further, you're like, who's this guy talking all this shit about weed?
Well, there was a doctor at the
Fucking
institute.
faggot. What does he know? This is what he knows, bitch. He's got a book, How to Grow Medical Marijuana.
You're out of your.
Oh, I'm right here.
No.
I came back. It's on a delay. This is a book, How to Grow Medical Marijuana, and it's not in print right now, right?
No.
To get it, you go to Amazon.com and maybe get a used copy.
Yes.
Probably do that, right?
Yeah. My next book, Grow Medicine, is going to come out, and I'm going to be talking about strain-specific growing.
Yeah, you could write a lot of books on growing weed. It's very complex, isn't it?
It is, and there's a lot of differences. When people try to say, "Oh, generalize this is how you grow pot," you can tell they've never grown pot because pot is very different to grow. I mean, go ahead.
I was going to say, this is a question that I need answered because I do not understand it. Now, there's a female plant and a male plant, and you need the female plant is where the medicine comes from, where weed comes from, right?
There's
But you need a
psychoactive
male.
properties in both.
Right, but they become one or the other. Like you have to get the males out. Explain what happens, like how it pollinates.
Males are sexed much like men, and an irony you'll find funny
is that normal with other plants, by the way?
Some plants are either dioecious or have both sexes on one plant. Cannabis actually can be both because it does
Right.
hermaphrodite and sometimes spews on
so
itself.
when you get a male, you got to get it out of there.
Right. Males actually create their pollen sacs faster than the females actually develop their buds. And in hemp, for instance, the males pollinate and then die off early. And the Roman Catholic Church miscategorized the male and female plants, even though the female had the seeds and even though the male blew the pollen, they didn't like that the male died off early, so they called the male the female and the female the male.
Whoa.
Yeah, they were heavy. They were heavy into their dogma. Can't rattle their cage.
That's
but
fascinating.
the way cannabis works.
So how do
is-
you tell? So if you've grown a bunch of weed plants, you have to keep an eye on them bitches because if they're all males.
It's like certain leaves,
It's
like little tiny,
different,
like
right?
It's
ball
not leaves. What they do is they develop
Legs.
these little male pollen sacs, if you will. And what they do is they come off the flower different. They come off the plant and they hang like little ball sacs and they open up and then the pollen. This is a male flower open. The pollen is carried to if you've ever seen little red hairs on your pot, those are the sex glands, and they are what
They
the
don't
pollen
get you
attracts
higher at
to.
all.
What the red? The what?
Yeah, the red hair doesn't get you higher at all.
Well, the red hair doesn't have crystals on it.
Right.
You know, they just have these like
looks cool.
non-glandular
so it looks
trichromes.
cool though. So you get some weed and you're like, look at all the red
But
hair.
that red hair skunk
doesn't
is
matter.
not what you want. Yeah, in a sense,
That's
no.
funny because
And-
it's so pretty.
Yeah, I know.
Well, when that male pollen hits those pistils, what it does is it causes that to fertilize, and the seed grows in that little pod. And if she doesn't get fertilized, that pod just swells and swells and swells, and the resin develops deeper. That's why we grow seedless cannabis, because it's like tricking the female into like really producing a lot of resins and a lot of, just she's waiting to be fertilized, and it never comes.
So it makes it more potent?
Well, potency, I think, is an interesting conversation. There was a doctor at the Institute of Medicine who got up one day and he said, I gave my patients 10 milligrams THC and they had a known effect. And then I gave them 10 milligrams THC and 1 milligram CBN and it doubled the effective dose. And I shot my hand up and I said, hey, would that replicate in nature? And he said, I think it would. And when I put my hand down, my publisher said, what did you two geeks just ask each other? And I said, basically, he told me to breed hemp in with my drug varieties because CBN, for instance, is a chemical that's mostly found in hemp. And as we have bred away from the characteristics of these equatorial varieties that are more hemp-like, we have actually bred more towards the drug varieties, and we've lowered the chemical of CBN down while raising THC up with less of an effective rate. So now we have THC levels over 20% that don't hit us as hard as I believe is if we had a little bit of CBN mixed in with it.
How many different cannabinoids are there inside a marijuana plant?
Well, there are over 400 chemicals created by the cannabis plant, and that's the definition of a cannabinoid. And the reality is that 60 of them are known to be therapeutic.
Oh, your shit's vibrating.
It's okay.
Wanna shut
We'll
that off?
ignore it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's coming through the microphone.
And what's going to happen is that as science understands these elements of it more, then they'll be able to better direct what the different chemicals and also terpenes, because terpenes are these volatile oils that are on the bud, and what happens is they're kind of steamed off when it's dried. So if anybody's ever picked up a cannabis flower and it had good body and you squished it and it still had moisture and you could smell it was real strong, those terpenes were intact.
And that has a psychoactive effect as
very
well.
much, and a synergistic psychoactive effect
So
with the
drying the
chemicals
weed's
inside.
not good.
It's good. Over drying it bad.
Joey
because
Diaz likes to take his weed and put it on the heater. I put that shit on the heater. You know what I do?
Well, it's just easy to make joints.
I put that shit on the windowsill and let it dry out.
yeah.
Perfect. Sometimes I put it on top of the TV. Puts it on top of his TV.
But the reality is because a lot of what he's getting is people that are hurrying to market and they sell pot that's not dry and not cured. The best cannabis is actually not just dried but cured and then stored for about 3 months. And then the oil set up and they're the smoothest.
Right.
Yes. Whoa. And then there's a window of when those cannabinoids actually keep themselves, which is between 3 months and 9 months.
So after 9
and then
months, your
after
weed's
9
no
months,
good?
your weed starts to degrade, chemically decompose in a sense, yes.
So old weed's whack. What about if you cook
Different. How about different?
What if you cook with it? What if you have like an old chocolate bar, an old weed chocolate bar? How long does that last?
If you have an old weed chocolate bar older than 9 months,
Then the dairy product in it would be moldy, and you wouldn't want to eat
you would have
it
other
anyway.
issues with
Chocolate
the chocolate.
bars? You can't.
Even if
they're
you went with
wrapped
dark
up.
chocolate.
They're wrapped up.
Well, not the kind that
It
the
depends
hippies
on how
make,
you-
probably.
I Ain't no tainted, you
Right.
know.
I have some of those old fucking Nestle's Quick bars that they made with weed.
A
No
lot
good?
of why I don't eat cannabis that's provided to me by people is because I don't know the conditions in which it's made, and I don't trust their, the way they handled it and stuff. And not just measuring, because you don't know how strong it's going to be.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, in Holland, like hash bonbons and brownies are considered a hard drug. Totally verboten. Yeah. You can be 16 and go into a Dutch coffee shop, buy hash on your way to high school, and you're cool.
And
but
this
you
is
can't buy
something
brownies.
that you told me about first. You were the first person to tell me about 11-hydroxy, that eating weed.
Eating weed. When you eat weed, it goes through your liver and kidneys, and it actually turns a chemical process, and it turns the psychoactive chemical THC into another chemical called 11-hydroxy metabolate. And that 11-hydroxy is 2 to 5 times more psychoactive than the cannabis. Actually, it's 3 to 5 times was the estimate I saw out of the University of Mississippi.
Yeah,
and you don't get 11-hydroxy in your bloodstream when you smoke cannabis.
It's such a different experience. And you and I were
different drug.
talking about it one night. I don't remember what the context of the conversation was, but it was probably I ate something that was just too fucking strong, and you had to explain it. It's so many people have had it and they're like, I'm on acid or something. It does not feel like pot.
And you're not used to it because when you smoke pot, you're only used to dealing with THC in your
Right.
bloodstream and not 11-hydroxy.
So different, man. There's
different.
nothing. Ari Shafir, we were on a plane the other day. We were flying to Austin, Texas, and Ari ate a cookie in his car on the way to the airport. And then he got there, and it takes an hour and 20 minutes or so to kick in. He got there. We were on the plane on the tarmac, and he was seriously thinking about telling them they had to let him off the plane.
Because he's that high.
He was that high. Oh, I didn't know until we landed.
Some model did that the other day. I saw on the news.
Really?
Yeah,
Well,
she had a
Dave
panic
Chappelle
attack.
did that too. Dave Chappelle had a panic moment on a plane.
I got to get off.
It might have been that,
That's one of those things that you wonder if you really want to go with it, though. What if you get off the plane, the fucking thing crashes? You'd be like, thank you, baby Jesus. I'm now religious. It would be a moment,
I guess.
We
Or
got
you
your
just
hemp parachutes.
high as fuck, son.
That's what saved George
I
Bush's
think that's what it is.
grandfather.
Yeah, right?
His hemp parachutes.
And the first draft of the Declaration of Independence was drafted
Printed
on
on
hemp.
hemp. Yeah. This was an
Motherfucker.
integral part of our history, man. And this is why
The
I'm trying to
American
convince
flag
people
was
they
made
need
out
it
of
back.
hemp.
Yeah,
They
Betsy
had no
Ross,
other
bitch.
options. Canvas was the only thing they had. There was no cotton gin when she knitted the first American flag. We only need look at our history's timetable to realize what we were using before the invention of some of these things.
This is all lost information, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to find out more about this, if you're really fascinated, go pick up this book, The Emperor Wears No Clothes. It's the one that, as we said, was written by our late friend, Jack Herer. Herer is how you say it, right? Not Herrera.
Think terror.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jack
Hera like
Herer.
terror, he used to say.
He
His
was-
weed's still available, though.
he was you can still buy a strain. There's a strain named after him. Is there a Todd McCormick strain out there?
Thank God, no.
No. Thank God, no.
Thank God, no.
There's a Joe Rogan out there. I
There
haven't
is?
tried
Is there really?
Yeah,
Can I get
there's
the plant?
two. I don't know. I don't know where it is.
Oh, dude, we gotta smoke
Find
some
it.
Joe
How about you
Rogan.
make your own?
Hey,
man?
I was just gonna
That's what I'm
say
talking
that.
about, man. Fuck it. I'll give you permission.
You and me, man.
This
Okay.
is what an officially sanctioned Joe Rogan strain would be created by Todd McCormick.
Do you want it
Which
to be
would
sativa or indica?
Sativa, son. I don't fuck with that dope weed.
Maybe just a sprinkle of indica.
Just
Yeah,
a
so
sprinkle.
sprinkle sometimes makes you a little silly.
Just a little sprinkle.
Just a little sprinkle.
I think that's a great
We're
idea.
gonna have
I
to
like
do
that.
some
Sprinkle
research
that.
and see
I'll
what,
have you try
how to
some.
put this together. Thank you everybody for tuning into the podcast once again. Thank you to the Fleshlight for sponsoring. I don't know why I hold this up. I can't just say it. I can just say it, but I feel like it's right here. I have to show you that it's really.
But
here.
does it light?
Does it light? No, there's no light, man.
There's no
It's
light.
fucking
It's
it.
just all
Fuck that
flesh.
shit.
Fuck
Feel
it.
Nobody's fucked this
I'm
one.
not
It's
doing
okay.
it.
Smell it.
It's
It
just
smells
rubber.
good.
It's just
It's
rubber.
just rubber.
It's just rubber.
Oh, that's fucking weird rubber, man.
Pretty good, man. It's
I
pretty
don't know
dope.
what's up with that.
I'll tell you what's up. It's better for masturbating. Do you masturbate at all? Don't lie. Of course you do, right?
Of course, I
Right,
went to
right.
prison for
So-
5 years. What
so
the
if you
fuck
masturbate,
think I did?
but if you masturbate, why wouldn't you want one of these? Because this is masturbation.
I could give
taken
you
to
a
the next
long list
level.
of reasons it just pops right off my
Go
head.
ahead. Fire,
Cleaning
fire
it,
'em off.
dealing with
so
it.
easy. This is
Come
how you.
on.
This is how you deal with it, right? You open up the top, right? So you shoot your load in there, and then you unscrew the bottom, and then you release the
No.
Kraken.
And you also
Release
use the
the
bottom.
Is it
Kraken of
dishwasher
shame.
safe?
Dishwasher.
No,
bitch,
you just-
that ain't a
You
dish.
just put your
That's
You're not
that's your
getting that
girlfriend,
clean.
son.
You're not getting that clean.
Oh yeah, you stick a fucking
you attach the
a
faucet to
thing-
the top of it.
yeah.
You shoot it.
Oh,
through
you
it.
just
the
stick the
load
full
yeah,
left
through
and
it.
on
Yeah.
and shoot it.
Or you shoot it on
Yeah.
your face. You do whatever you want to.
Shoot it on your face. I like
Makes
how you
it
think,
look
Brian.
good.
Play us out
Wow.
with a song. What's the song, Brian?
This is called "Walking on a Dream" by Empire
Walk on a
of the
Dream.
Sun.
Thank you everybody for tuning in. We may or may not.